Welcome to the Numerology and Astrology for June 24th, 2021. Thank you for joining me. If we add all those numbers together today, we get the number 17, and if we add the 1 and the 7 together, you get the number 8. The number 8 is a deeply emotional number. It's a number of prana and breath. It's the number of sadness and despair. It's the infinity. It's a figure 8. So what goes around comes around, bringing heaven to earth and earth lifting up to heaven. So the number 8 deepens us and allows us to feel into our discomfort. Not something any of us would willingly go towards, but it is often the best and quickest way to move beyond any residual patterns of suffering that are hiding, but that are now resurfacing. Pema Chodron says, sit in the Shempa. That means to sit in calm observation of our own discomfort. When we learn to embrace all emotions, especially the dark emotions, especially those that we want so desperately to ignore or hide, that is the pathway towards the next level of enlightenment. Denial leads us only into more karmic patterns of action and consequence. We are here to learn that all our thoughts and actions impact our choices, biases, and behaviors in this world. We are manifesting our thoughts out into this world. Those that are unconscious of this truth chaotically manifest destructive forces that are intend to tear down what is good and certain in this world. I know that I do not want to be a soul that unconsciously uses my toxic thoughts and emotions to cause others in this world more suffering. That is why we have to learn to observe these thoughts and recognize that they lead us into continued karma and never show us the doorway to freedom or enlightenment. The astrology today. The full moon today is in the Cancer Capricorn trajectory. It is time to balance the structure in our lives with our personal needs. Yes, we have responsibilities, but if we do not take care of ourselves, then we will not be able to do those things well. Better boundaries are essential to not letting life run us into the ground. Certain things can no longer be ignored, specifically in the external world. There are problems that are our responsibility. If we made the problem, then we will have to fix it. While this moon can blur the edges and make us feel fractured and fragmented, it is only showing us what and where we have been in denial. Fortunately, this full moon is positioned positively with Jupiter, helping us do the right thing. It is possible to make this moment a critical turning point in our lives. We are opening to blaring realizations that, while harsh, are truthful. There is a T-square between Mars, Saturn, and Uranus. Mars wants to fire things up, Saturn wants to maintain the status quo, and Uranus wants to rebel against those in charge. This type of square can make you feel as if life is trying to pull you apart. Perhaps it can help reconfigure us into a better pattern. But this instability is unnerving, and somehow we know that many things will have to change to allow us to find that elusive inner and outer harmony. The intuitive planet Neptune is slowing down to turn retrograde in a few days. While we are getting clearer as to what we want to accomplish, we also have no idea how to go about accomplishing that impulse. Saturn will sextile to Chiron. This is the second of 3 sextiles. The last one will be in November. It attempts to soften the very sharp edges of the Saturn-Uranus square that is running in a similar time pattern. We are moving towards a more effective and safe way to grow. We need to learn to act in a more professional and respectful way with each other. That is what has been lost in this particular time in history. We must, as a society, demand accountability and more mature patterns of behavior from all the people. The problem is arrogance. Many forms of arrogance. Emotional arrogance, my feelings are more important than yours. Mental arrogance, I'm smarter than you, I have more information than you. Therefore, my information trumps your information. Spiritual arrogance being the primary one, presently undermining the very foundational structures of our world. It is not just in our country, but globally that this pattern is apparent. It helps to hold a humble heart and a mind when confronted by beliefs and ways that are foreign to us personally. Success comes when we attempt to understand those outside of us that see a different world and experience life in a very different way than ourselves. My quote for today: tomorrow will come, but do you know the way? We will not find the path if we do what we did today. The path ahead is treacherous and new. It requires us to be completely honest and true to the patterns that hold us back in fear. Only then will the path become crystal clear. And my blog for today: we are all victims of our life and circumstance. More so if we refuse to become aware of choice. Bad things happen to everyone in life, but some take it personally and use the damage as a shield and a way to keep others out or from confronting them. They project an air such as, "Don't push me because I'm depressed," and many won't push them. But that allows their wounding to have more power over them. It defines and limits the level of depth and the levels of engagement they are capable of. That serves no one. I refuse to let dysfunctional behaviors of others play games of power around me. I choose to not respond when someone leads with hooks, manipulation, or childish behaviors. I refuse to let the wounding within a person determine the level of depth or interconnection that is possible. Those that will not shift or are incapable of making the shift towards positive interaction will never be allowed in my space. To me, it is simple. I do not have time to deal with those unwilling to grow and those that stay trapped in their patterns of wounding. I do not have the energy to fight their ego and defenses in order to be let in. I am too old to handhold those that refuse to listen and just want to continue to play out their patterns of wounding. I have much to give, but I will not fight dysfunction in a battle of wits and intellect. I will not play the games of another's mind, because I know their game is rigged for me to be the bad person and them to be the vindicator. They need to make others their perpetrators so they can win this time and not feel hopeless or helpless. But I do not play games with other adults. Games are for children to learn. Maturity comes when we take responsibility and own up to our choices. Then we see the loops that someone is using to snare others and entrap themselves. It becomes easy to step away. If someone wants the game more than they want to know the truth hidden within, then they are just not yet ready. They are not ready to own and stand up for themselves. They are not ready to make the necessary changes. They just want someone to rescue them and save them from the hell that they find themselves in or that they are co-creating. But this hell has doors and keys, and all those keys and the maps are in their pockets once they realize that they have them. You see, they do not need me or anyone else. They need themselves, because they made this prison and and only they know the way out. Thanks, everyone.